morning, YouTube. Scratch that, not good morning. It's a dreary, yuck morning again. I don't think I've seen the sunlight in like 5 days. It's just been crap weather here in Kentucky. It's 32 degrees right now. It's a light mist of a rain, I guess, but it's probably going to turn to freezing rain shortly. Yeah, so that's my crappy weather. But wanted to record a video on the way to work this morning. Meant to do it yesterday, but I started the video and then it just didn't work out. So I'm going to do it this morning on the way to work. So I'm going to do the MDG Collections What Was Your First Car Challenge. So I had said originally on my Welcome to Awesome RT channel video that I was going to do a video like this, where that was talking about where I've came from as far as cars go up to the Charger. And so this is kind of like the perfect time to do that video because it's what was your first car. So my first vehicle was not mine. Some people do get their own first car, like they actually have to purchase it and pay for it or whatever. But I was fortunate. My mother, was a single mom. My dad died when I was young, and so she worked her tail off to provide for me and my brother, and so I was very fortunate. She had always dreamed of having. She always wanted a Jeep Wrangler, really bad. She wanted one of those. Never had one, and then she was finally at a spot where she could afford to get one. So a couple years before I got my license, she went out and bought a 1994 Jeep Wrangler Sahara Edition, 4-wheel drive. It was nice. And so she drove it a little bit here and there. She drove it in the winter times to work, and then so I mean it was very low miles when I turned 16. And being the awesome mom that she is, shout out to you, mama, she let me drive the Jeep when I got my license. So technically that was my first car. Now I didn't purchase it, I drove it and loved every minute of it. That Jeep was so much fun to drive. Mom would say I was probably a little dangerous in it, but the whole perception of, oh, Jeeps flip, they don't flip. I mean, they can flip, but I took that thing on some curvy back roads going pretty quick, and it never toppled on me. But needless to say, it was a super fun vehicle. The downsides to it was no air conditioning. So in the summertime it was hot, but basically in the summertime, if it was not raining, I had the top down. I was a top down all the time kind of guy. And even when it wasn't that warm out, I would take the top down. It was decently warm. I would still take the top down. Ooh, there's a Mopar. Look like a Scat Pack back here. Nice. Anyway, dang, I lost my train of thought. It happens to me all the time. It's terrible. I'm getting old. But so anyway, top down. So it wasn't that bad not having air conditioning. Other downside was in the winter when it was cold, it was a soft top. So, the air, the heat, where it didn't have air conditioning, the heat came out of just 2 vents in the floor. And the heat vent was directed right at your foot. So you'd be sitting there driving and your foot would be like 110 degrees and the rest of the vehicle was decently warm. So, little complaints here and there, but overall, that was a fantastic first vehicle. Basically new Jeep Wrangler Sahara Edition was the first vehicle I drove. And I drove it for a while. Mom was gracious enough to let me drive it. I think I drove it until I was almost 19, probably 18 and a half, somewhere around there. And that's when I actually bought my first car. And my first car was Mopar. So I actually purchased a 1999 Chrysler Sebring LXI. She was beautiful, beautiful. So my girlfriend at the time, her dad had 97 LXI, and it was white, had silver rims. It was nice, you know, and I loved that car, so I went and bought me one. You know, so mine was white, tan and black leather interior, and then it had the stock white rims. It was gorgeous. I loved it. So I had that car for a while. Almost lost it a couple times because I was young and missed payments every now and then. But you know, hey, live and learn. But I did keep it all the way through. Paid it off finally, and ended up smashing it into a tree going like 60 miles an hour. Little disclaimer here: don't drink and drive. That's a terrible idea. Just in case anybody was thinking about doing that, don't do it. It's a terrible idea. And then also, don't drink and then decide you want to leave and sober up for a few hours and then leave. Okay, so it's a little story behind that one is I was at a party that I shouldn't have went to anyway, and I was, you know, probably about an hour and 15 minutes from home. And so I'm gonna straighten the camera, Tad, bugging me. So anyway, and then I went to this party. I was drinking, of course, and you know, I got to the point where I was like, I only knew like two people there, and I was like, okay, I don't want to stay here, you know. So I decided I was going to leave. So I stopped drinking, you know, and I said, you know, I'll sober up for a few hours and then I'll go. So I did that, and I made it all the way. Like, I wasn't, when I left, I felt fine. Now, granted, I'm sure still intoxicated, but you know, I wasn't drunk like I didn't know what I'm doing. You know, I thought well enough to drive. And so I made it all the way almost home. I was 3 minutes from my bed, and I fell asleep behind the wheel. Just, I guess I got to the roads where I was most comfortable, and being too comfortable, I fell asleep and just veered off the road and hit a tree going 60 miles an hour. So smashed that car to pieces. So when I hit the tree, my wheel spun, you know, and snapped this bone in half, you know, so that was fun. And my other hand went through the dash. Airbag deployed. I saw it pop out, you know, because I woke up obviously as soon as I got off the road. I tried to correct, but didn't happen. It was a slant, and you know, so airbag popped out, deflated, and I guess I took all the force in my arm and my wrist. But so anyway, I'm sitting there, you know, and the first thing that goes through my head is, fuck, I just wrecked my car. Being a car guy, that's of course the first thought that goes through your head. Second thought was, okay, well, I see some steam coming out of the engine bay. I should probably get out just in case it catches on fire. So I look over and I reach for the door handle, and my arm just, it feels like it's going, but it's just laying there. So the next words out of my mouth was, fuck, I broke my arm. You know, so I, you know, crawl out of the car with my broken arm and fractured wrist, and get a hold of my brother. He comes in and picks me up. So I just leave the car sitting there on the side of the road. You know, I wrecked in front of somebody's house. They never once came outside. I guess they just slept through it or whatever. But so wait for my mom to get home from work, and she got home. You know, she's a nurse, or she was a nurse. She's retired now, but so she gets home. I tell her what happened, you know, and she's freaking out, of course, and then takes me to the hospital. And so once we get to the hospital, of course, the state troopers show up, and just so happens that some lowlife drove past my car sitting on the side of the road there, or in the ditch, I guess, and decided he was going to benefit from my loss. And so he's there trying to get my subwoofers and amps out of the car. Jerk face. I mean, it's like, well, what the hell? You know, I'm already down, and you're gonna sit there and just steal from me? It's super. And it just so happens that another state trooper rolled up on him right as he's doing that. So he radios to the guys at the hospital, and this guy is telling the trooper that he's my family and that he's going, you know, he's my cousin, and he's just getting my speakers out for me. Well, they ask my mom, and they're like, you know, is somebody getting the speakers out of the car for him? And mom said, no, we don't have any family here. It's just me and my two boys. So they, of course, arrest him. And then, you know, I'm sitting at the hospital, and they got to get my shirt off. So I'm pulling my arm out, and my arm bends in half. You know, as they're taking my arm out of the shirt, and my brother's just like, whoa. He tells me, he's like, you handled that like a champ. I was like, well, I think I was still numb from shock. But so anyway, state trooper tells me, you know, because obviously drinking and driving and you wreck your car, you're usually gonna get in trouble. So they tell my mom, you know, once he gets done, have him come into the state trooper post and see us. So I do that. I go in there, you know, I've got big old temporary cast on my arm over here, temporary, you know, smaller cast over here. And I go in, you know, I'm thinking for sure they're gonna arrest me or, you know, something, you know, give me a court date at least. And the trooper was super awesome. He looked at me, and he's like, did you like that car? I was like, yeah, I mean, I love that car, you know. And he's like, he looks like you learned your lesson, didn't you? And I was like, yes sir, I did. You know, and I was like, it's definitely not worth it, you know. And so he explained to me, you know, and you know, that what he could do. And then he, you know, he's like, to me, you look like a good kid. You know, he's like, you look like you've learned your lesson. You know, and then he's like, and then I really want to nail this douchebag that was stealing your stuff. So he's like, so how much was all that worth? And I was like, I got it used. I was like, I paid like $150 for it. He was like, how much would it be if it was new? I was like, you know, probably. He's like, at least what, 1,000? I was like, yeah. I was like, at least, you know. I was like, those amps are pretty good, you know. And so, you know, he guesstimated on the new pricing. That way he can charge this guy with a felony, which is pretty cool. But he did let me go, you know, and I did learn my lesson. I don't drink and drive anymore. That's a terrible idea. So anyway, so I wrecked that car. It had 218,000 miles on it when I wrecked it. So let's do some pictures. I'm going to start from when I got it to when I crashed it. All right, so that was those pictures of that car. I loved it so much, I went and bought another one. So I was on a forum page, aseclub.org. It was for Avenger Sebring Enthusiast Club, and I was on there for years. And there was a for sale, you know, forum that you could sell your cars, and it just so happened at that time one of the people on the forum were selling a white one just like mine. It had the gray interior and it had custom wheels, so it didn't have stock wheels. But so I bought that one too, kept it for a long time. So I basically had the same type of car for like 10 years. So needless to say, I knew all the ins and outs of that car, transmission being the worst of them. The A604 transmission was just crap. I had to replace it. Out of both cars, I ended up replacing the transmission like 5 times. Super. But anyway, so that one ended up, we were parked at my place me and my wife were renting, and somebody plowed into the front of it while it was parked on the road, and it just kind of angled it out into the road, you know. So I get a knock at the door, like 2 a.m., right? I open the door, I'm like, what the hell? You know, and all of a sudden, flashlight in the eyeballs, "You've been drinking." I was like, what? And I was like, let's go, what? You know, and they're like, "Step outside." And I step outside, and they're like, "You've been drinking." I was like, no, I just woke up. I was like, what the hell are you doing on my porch? And then I kind of glance out, and I notice my car's in there smashed. You know, so they, I guess they assumed that I had been drinking, wrecked into my plastic mailbox that was not damaged, and just fucked the front end of my car all up. That's what I'm assuming. But anyway, so then once I got up and realized what happened, we were looking at it, and there was blue paint all over the car. I was just like, come on guys, look at the car before you come knock on my door. But anyway, so that one got smashed. Didn't have full coverage on that one, so I ended up having to pay out of pocket for a car. So I bought a 2002 Lincoln LS. No, pictures of the second Sebring. Okay, so after that one, I bought a 2002 Lincoln LS, Old Bessie. I still have Old Bessie. She's sitting in my driveway right now. I don't know what I'm going to do with her, but it's good to have a beater car, I guess, in case you need it. But overall, the Lincoln was not bad. When I first got it, it looked like a drug dealer's car. Like, it was pretty bad looking, so I had to fix a few things. So let's do some pictures of that one. Okay, so that is the pictures of the Lincoln. It looks a little worse than the last couple pictures because I took the spoiler off, like a little lip spoiler, because I was going to use it as a window, like a roof spoiler on here. And long story on that one too. Well, not a long story, but I put it up there just to see how it would look. It was going to look good. I had to trim it. I was going to have to trim it just a little bit. Forgot that it was on there. Drove the car and it flew off. So yeah. But anyway, so I still have the Lincoln right now. It's just sitting there, and you know, I used it. I drive it every now and then whenever I have to take the dog to the vet or something. You know, I'll use that. But it feels like driving a freaking tank after you've been driving this thing. You know, this car rides good. So that one does not. Needs a lot of work, but so that's my lifespan of cars. So most of mine have been Mopars. And really, I mean, I don't see myself veering from Mopars. Granted, that new Mustang GT500 is beautiful, but yeah, I don't know. I need my 4 doors, you know, kids. So I mean, I do like my 4-door vehicles. Having kids climb over the back seat, you know, to get in, or climb over your console and stuff to get in the back seats. I like my 4 doors. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna cut this one off here. It's 17 minutes of me yapping. Hope it'll be longer than once I put the pictures in. But hope you guys enjoy. That was my lengthy "What Have I Drove" car video. But hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Mopars.